And if you're seeing this, you are on Black Man Spy. Day 118. We made an error on the Substack. It is day 118. I will correct that when the show is over. We are having what we call the MOU-A-POLOOZA, where we're going to talk about the MOU and all the downstream bull that is emerging from it, and how everyone is sort of claiming they're running it and ignoring it, especially the Israelis. The Israelis carried out an attack this morning that they said, no, 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 no. We killed those 6 guys purely defensive. Okay, that's how they're going to do it. So, with that, let me introduce you to the rest of the panel. Jacob Karsbo, Danish intelligence officer extraordinaire, and Wajeeh, the roaring gay lion, hailing from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Well, glad to see you. For those of you who are asking, why am I back in my MSNBC livery, right? Why am I wearing suits and ties instead of hanging out and, hello, Germany, hanging out and just chillaxing like everybody else? And no, I'm not dressing up for you. You guys don't. I'm dressing up because, and I'm going to be jumping off at about 25 after. I have to go to a memorial ceremony. My good cousin, his wife passed away from congestive heart failure a few weeks ago, and today is the memorial. So I've driven down from Albany area, and I am in Philadelphia, which you cannot tell because this is the one hotel that has nothing Philadelphia in the rooms. I mean, not even pictures of like cheesesteaks or something like that. It's very weird. Normally it's like Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, cheesesteaks. And I was actually at Independence Hall yesterday. I was doing video in front of the Liberty Bell for National Security Leaders for America, and none of the video reading of me reading major parts of the Declaration of Independence, none of it saved. So, and then we had whiteout downpour. I mean, I couldn't see going to the car. I was completely drenched. It drenched my umbrella, and then I had to sit there until it was safe enough to drive. But it's nice being in Philadelphia. It's nice being near Independence Hall. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. I was born in the Philadelphia Naval Hospital, which is now part of the Philly Eagles training ground, I think, right? I took down that mammoth old hospital. So I like coming back here, grabbing a cheesesteak, a soft pretzel from the Wawa, and going to a family event. So bear with me. That being said, we're going to do a quick coffee cup check, and then we're going to go right into the news. I am in a hotel. I did not bring a coffee cup. What did you have, Waj? Waj has his orange mug, and your CIA use a spy mug. I like that.
Analyst, spy. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's weird because that's like Directorate of Operations, Directorate of Analysis, Directorate of Analysis. Oh, Directorate of Operations. So I don't know. Anyway, I have a hotel mug, but what's up, Watch?
I said all this should tell you that I really don't want to lose my coffee, so I have something very bright.
And it mirrors your body shape. We know you're a big chubby bear. We know you're a bear. And
yeah, I'm a big bear.
So this is my mug, but this is my mug that I received from Lausanne, the Lausanne conference that the Iranians gave to all the participants. And you know that it's a good one because it has a message in there. This is camel. Because this is what happens when you go to the camel soup. They sold J.D. Vance 100 camels, and this is what they got for it. A mug that says, "This is camel. Enjoy."
Oh.
I didn't write that part down there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Waj, would you like to hit us with the price of oil first?
You got it. I do have it pulled out. My
For those
screen
of
just
you
went
who
out.
are asking,
Price 79, right?
This is Cyrillic.
It's actually gone down.
Yeah? Down to what? If it gets to 68, it'll be back to pre-war.
WTI is at 73. Brent crude is at 77. Marban is at 70. OPEC is at 81.
They're only losing
So,
pennies,
like,
pennies.
yeah, they're not losing much, but they're losing a little.
You know,
The market is skeptical, but yet it's back to almost pre-war.
with the exception of Mr. Global, there are a lot of people out there that are trying to make it appear that the market is really good. And I've seen at least two oil analysts out there going, the Strait of Hormuz, the oil is flowing through. And the market is speaking. Well, that's sort of true. Yes, oil is flowing through. Yes, the
A lot
market
of
is
Iranian
speaking.
oil.
But it's all Iranian oil, right? Yeah, the best market in the world.
On the way to Asia.
Yeah, on its way to
Yeah.
Asia. But in fact, only 25 ships got through yesterday, which is less than 300. And, they were saying, hey, they let in three Qatari, very large liquid natural gas carriers, finally got through after 118 days. Well, of course that they would get through after 118 days because there was a war. And it took those ships sat off the Persian Gulf or outside the Persian Gulf until yesterday. Now they're
You
like,
want to know?
oh, great. The Qataris are getting their gas back online. Yes, Wajeeh, sir.
Fun fact about yesterday: an Iranian oil floating. Trump has signed yesterday a document removing all of the sanctions of Iran, allowing the United States for the first time to buy Iranian oil.
Yes. And here's the kicker. Iranian tankers can now come to the United States because
Yep.
they removed a law, I think it's called the Harris Act, where only U.S. ships could move oil interdependently around the states of the United States. And the Iranians now can go straight into New York City, offload, or
Okay.
Bayonne, New Jersey. We know that's you, right? And offload your oil straight into the refinery. Thank you, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, and they cleared this up. Donald Trump eliminated 47 years of sanctions.
Yes, sir.
Good job. I'm telling you.
And let's just remember when we talk about this that only about a week ago, the State Department informed Congress by a letter that Iranian oil revenues are the main source of financing for the Iranian armed forces and for the terror infrastructure around the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Only a
And
week earlier.
J.D. Vance was asked about this, right? He was asked about, now you've taken the sanctions off of Iranian oil. Iran can now earn $5 billion a month in oil profit, right? I mean, that's profit clear and free after they pumped it out, put it on ships, went around the world. And he was just like, well, so we've got to give them some incentive. And it's like, okay, what happened to the Ayatollah Khomeini bad 1979, all sanctions after taking hostages? All the sanctions are gone, including the ones from when they took hostages back in 1979. Took the American embassy. No problem. This is called incentivizing, right?
Yeah.
Donald Trump is incentivizing the Iranians.
But
Yeah,
they
you're
said last
incentivizing.
night it would all go to purchase food in the U.S.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is you have to understand something. Trump fucked up our agriculture for the people in the Midwest really bad. In the Midwest, they grow few things. They grow wheat, they grow soybeans, and they
sorghum,
grow corn.
sorghum. Yeah.
Sorghum,
Also,
corn. Yes. Yeah, those are the few things that we sell. And soybeans in particular used to go mainly to China. Now, because of Trump tariffs, China said, fuck you, we'll just go somewhere else. Now, all the
they went.
sorry.
You know where they went, right? They went to Brazil under Bolsonaro. Then they They just almost stopped 100% of U.S. soybean purchases, which, by the way, was our biggest global crop being sold. Same thing with wheat and corn. You know who the second biggest buyer of U.S. wheat and corn was? U.S. Agency for International Development. And they were putting it in bags and giving the U.S. They were making money off the U.S. government. We got rid of that. We'd rather let black
Mhm.
people starve. Fuck them. That's their attitude. I'm sorry. Please watch it.
No, you're covering the points that should have been covered by. Yeah, I appreciate it. So now they have to appease
Yeah.
these farmers. Many of them aren't
Whoops.
big
Sorry.
farmers.
Yeah.
These are farmers that have to send their kids to school, like K State, to get agriculture economy or get agriculture study, and they all go back for family business. They don't go work for a corporation, and
Mhm.
they save their money season by season. They spend it on tractors. They rent tractor. It depends on what they need. Sometimes they don't have the money to buy the equipment. They have to rent it out. So it's very expensive right now for farmers. And oh, I forgot which one who was the American politician that decided to say something. You either become big or you get kicked out of the farming business in the US. I forgot
Right.
who it was, but that was a thing. And now that these small farmers are being squeezed out, and these are some of the largest voting bloc for Trump, and the election is coming up, all of a sudden you have JD Vance going, okay, okay, we'll give you the money, but you have to buy our crops first that no one is buying. Uh, it makes sense. When you look at the bigger picture, you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. So you're
Yeah.
just trying to sell your crop out. But the thing is, that's only the $100 billion. That's not the rest of the $300 billion from the other rest of Gulf nations.
Hmm.
We haven't
Well,
decided
look.
yet. Like, there's no cap on what they do on that, and supposedly that is straight up to build the country. That is to rebuild everything. So that $100 billion, that's fine. They need the food anyways. But uh, also, Iran is not that starving for food because they're considered a breadbasket for the Middle East.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at Trump's tweet this morning to talk about that. I will put this up here. Oops. I will move that closer. It says, despite their protestations, and fall. I'm going to take this off here. Despite their protestations and false statements to the contrary, coupled with the drumbeat of the fake news, which is doing everything possible to make the U.S. victory as small and insignificant as possible, Iran has fully and completely agreed to the highest level nuclear restrictions long into the future. Infinity!
Infinity.
He's got 3 exclamation points on it, so you know it's true. This will ensure nuclear honesty. If they do not agree to this, there would be no further negotiations. Based on this and other major concessions being made by Iran, I have agreed to allow the Strait of Hormuz to remain open.
What?
Oh, yeah, yeah. With no
You,
further
Mel,
blockade. However,
you,
comma, all ships are remaining in place. It would be necessary to reinstitute the blockade, which it seems at this point highly unlikely. The money and or sanctions that the U.S. Treasury is releasing goes into escrow controlled by the USA and will be used for the purchase of food and medical supplies exclusively from the United States, including wheat, supplies wheat and soybean, corn, wheat, and soybeans from our great American farmers. These are things that are desperately needed in Iran. This is a humanitarian crisis, and I feel it's necessary to help now before it's too late. Talks are going well. 1 exclamation point. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wajeeh, what is it you have to say?
You don't understand. That is, you should use your cryptology a little bit. This is a cryptic message from the president to you.
It's cryptic, so it's cryptology. Oh,
Uh,
no, I don't think it works that way. But I appreciate you trying. Uh, this is okay, guys. Guys, can I know we like to have fun and everything, and we do interrupt each other deliberately and on purpose. But let me tell y'all something. This is a sign of mental illness. This is delusional. He lives in an alternate reality, which doesn't seem to touch any place that we live in. He has declared he's opening the Strait of Hormuz. He really thinks that that blockade closed the Strait of Hormuz. And it's amazing to me. Of course, he doesn't know anything about history. The British did this too. Well, after Mossadegh nationalized oil, didn't work, right? Boats go by, people sell oil, but all of this other stuff, Iran has agreed fully and to the highest level of nuclear inspections. No, they haven't. They haven't. It was proposed that the IAEA reinstitute the same controls they had under Barack Hussein Obama. Right? Same things. And he's just like, that will ensure nuclear honesty. Now, here's something that I'm sure is very upsetting to the U.S. Navy. They've been told they're not leaving blockade station. Oh, I feel sorry for you guys. No trips to the Seychelles, no trips to Mumbai, not even a Steel Beach visit down to Diego Garcia. Just stay your ass right there, which, if I'm not mistaken, according to the MOU, is supposed to be completely lifted. And do you guys recall how many
30
days? 30
days.
days?
30.
30 days.
Yeah.
So, the Iranians are like, another cup of tea.
I think
Right?
I think basically it's all bullshit. So, if there's some way to track the ships enforcing the blockade, I think
There
they're
is.
gone.
There's a way to
Yeah.
track them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The
Let's see.
warship track.
Yeah.
But this stuff about all this money is going to be held in escrow and to be used for food, medical supplies, corn, wheat, soybeans. This sounds very familiar. This sounds like a black guy said it first. This was part of the JCPOA for that $1.7 billion. It was held in escrow in Qatar. It was only used for foodstuff and medicines. That's it. And it had to be purchased from Qatar, via Qatar. So, I mean, this is the literal, I'm sorry, it's time to get into race politics here. This is the literal whitewashing of a great deal that he hated it because, as that cartoon said, what did you hate so much about the JCPOA? Barack Obama's signature, right?
Yeah.
Dirty black guys dirtying up politics. This man is delusional. This is a sign of dementia. He thinks he's king of the world. He raises his finger. The Strait of Hormuz opens. He drops his finger. It closes. He just turned it into a combat zone, and insurance companies wouldn't let anybody through. But he thinks 25 tankers are super awesome, even though they're going through the Iranian separation scheme. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, what can we say? I mean, this is it. It's just things he makes up. Most of it, I think, to be honest, it's just yeah.
I
This
had
purchase of medicines and foods and stuff for American farmers. No, not a chance.
I had a psychiatrist reach out to me recently and confirm that Trump does have all the evidence of going Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Well, of course, I was in a documentary film called, gosh, what was the name of that film? It was about Trump's mental health and these psychiatrists that evaluated him. They're not supposed to, failure to warn. And these guys were supposed to actually they were evaluating Trump's mental health. And this is 10, like, was it 2015, 2016, 2017. And they were like, this guy's doolally. I mean, he is his border, what do they call it? Narcissistic personality disorder of the highest that they've seen. And it's a trait that was Hitler had it, Stalin had it, all of them had it. And their thing was to bring pain on other people, gave them pleasure. Gave them pleasure. And Trump's whole thing was cheating you. Cheating you. He would laugh at stealing from contractors. And there's no difference. By the way, in case you guys haven't seen it, speaking of bribes people regret, this is a video of the Qatari or Qatari 747 that they gave to Trump, flying circles around Andrews Air Force Base. I don't know why this thing is not working for me right now, but for millions and million, 800, what is it, $400 million, this thing's flying circles around Maryland. And the worst part is, first, that's his company's fucking ugly ass breath scheme with a giant American flag on the tail. And it's like, you know what he calls it? Dumbass calls it the flying White House, right? And it's like, what the fuck? Oh, by the way, one other thing. Did you guys hear what happened when Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan from the New York Times went to the Oval Office in the middle of the war? And they thought he's going to try to introduce them to why he's winning the war. And they get in there and he starts bringing out pictures of the columns on the ballroom and bragging how there would be more columns that would be taller than those on the Supreme Court. Right? And then starts bragging about other stuff. Oh, the maple trees. He had a list of maple trees that he was going to choose from. And he goes, I'm not shitting you. He says, I'm choosing trees. I'm the best at choosing trees. Makes you crazy. Why do these people, why, for the love of whoever your preferred religious deity is, why would no one say, Mr. President, you're out of your fucking mind, and write a book about that, right? Don't tell me that I'll throw down $30 for a book called Mr. President, you're out of your fucking mind. Nobody. This is the ultimate rich white guy privilege. You can be totally nuts. Nuts. And they'll go, why, I have to give this fair consideration that perhaps he has other things that are on his mind apart from the fact that we're killing thousands of Iranian civilians.
Yeah, the
Holy
White
cow,
House
make it make
renovation.
sense, guys. Make it make
No,
sense.
There's no way. There's no way to
Anyway.
make it make sense.
The guy really is so distracted by the pool in front of the White House monument, in front of the Lincoln Memorial. He believes that his speech on that memorial was bigger than Martin Luther King, bless his soul. He thinks that the project of American Blue Flag was uh, 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 botched by protesters. Meanwhile, he decided to put $13 million in a company that is owned by a friend of his that decided to do a butchered job on making our country or rebuilding our country. And now that it's firing back at him, he's upset about it. And he's trying to blame it on everyone else, just like his war, just like everything else.
Well,
Motherfucker doesn't know what he's doing.
no. And the reason, for those of you who are wondering why we are getting so political so quickly, I'm trying to emphasize this is the decision-making process of life and death. And he has now contradicted himself, loves Israel, hates Iran, and now he loves Iran, hates Israel. People live and die from this, right? They live and die from this. They arrested a Swedish journalist for scooping up a cup of water out of the fountain. We used to play, not the fountain, but the reflecting pool. When I was a kid, we swam, we played in the reflecting pool. It is not against the law to get in the reflecting pool. It was a big thing, it's just crazy. This is madness. It's madness going on here. By the way, here's a little administration because I have to leave shortly. The chat is up. The U.S.-Iran MOU-A-POLOOZA, day one. The correct date is on there, day 118. Post your questions there for Waj and Jacob. And for me, I'll be answering them after I leave this funeral around 12 o'clock. But right now, the things that are going on, I mean, the other one is Israel claims that they attacked 6 Hezbollah soldiers near Nebatia, and they were like, oh, they were infiltrators. We're allowed to kill infiltrators. Okay, let's see what Iran thinks about that. So there are many, many parts of this story that are going on that we all need to know about. And I, for one, have to go show my condolences to my poor cousin who joined the club I was in, right? The Hot Young Widows Club, as they used to call it. Now our group is called Club WID, and it's all inclusive. But these guys, he's hurting, so I'm going to go help him out. And I will be answering your questions on the chat. Jacob and Wajeeh will take the show from here. I will be just off camera. The show will be up. All right. So I will actually be hearing it. Liversby says he's widowed too. Suck ass job. I'm sorry. Widow, worst job I ever had. 6 years for me. Every day I go, I hate this job. I hate this job. And it does not get any better when you get married. So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But anywho, guys, enjoy the rest of the show. I'll be monitoring like I'm at 33,000 feet. And I will talk to you guys later, but please go ahead and continue with the chat. Bye.
See you tomorrow, Malcolm.
We'll see you tomorrow, and my condolences once again. We'll see you again.
Okay. Well, like NSA, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
You have a good one.
Yeah.
You don't want to take me to work real quick?
What?
You don't have time to get me over to work real quick?
No, I'm still.
No worries.
You have a good one.
You too. Enjoy your day. Be home late.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Should we start with Lebanon? Just go over what's going on there, Wajeeh?
So far, all like the latest update about 28 minutes ago from Al Jazeera, Lebanese delegations has arrived for talks with Israel in Washington. The Lebanese delegation arrived for a new round of U.S. mediation negotiation. It's interesting that the U.S. is mediating this. Lebanon is represented by Ambassador Nada, with the Israeli delegation is headed by Ambassador Yahil. U.S. officials are also participating in the talks. The discussion marks the 5th round of negotiation between both sides. The latest talks follow U.S.-Iran negotiations, and Iran came out and criticized the Israeli shooting that was happening about a few hours ago.
Yeah.
Israel started sniping and attacking in South Lebanon. So Israel and Lebanon and Iran said that they're warning again that they might fall out or something like that if the attacks continue in Lebanon.
Yeah.
It seems like it's shaky as ever, and Trump can't do shit about it.
And for sure, I mean, none of the things in the MOU will progress as long as this situation continues. Iran will stick to the point that Donald Trump hasn't fulfilled his end of the MOU as long as the Israelis are in Lebanon. So I think they'll take it easy. They'll earn their money. They'll sell their oil, get access to frozen funds, which they already have, and then we'll see what the Israelis do. But interestingly, with all this that's going on, you had both Ben Gvir and Smotrich come out and say the MOU doesn't concern us. We'll do whatever the hell we want in Lebanon, and
Yep.
that is staying there. And you know who Benjamin Netanyahu hosted yesterday? Have a guess. He had a visit by a president.
President of Somaliland.
No, even much worse. A
What?
pariah state, a rogue state.
Oh my God. North Korea? No.
Republika Srpska. Republika Srpska. Like, complete neo-Nazi regime of Serbs in Bosnia.
Okay.
It's insane, You can't make it up. He hosted the president of Republika Srpska. A radical Putin, nationalist regime that is holding sway and seeking independence, etc., etc. And really, it's keeping Bosnia Herzegovina stalled because
Mm-hmm.
they have this quasi, confederate arrangement where Republika Srpska can, hold the whole country back from its progress towards the EU. So yeah, that was who Bibi hosted yesterday. Insane, really,
Why would he be hosting someone like that?
because he seems to host the West of the West. Sometimes when I discuss what is going on, I'm saying, well, Israel doesn't abide by international law. That is quite clear. And the way
Mm-hmm.
it's conducting these scorched earth policies, it has the same disregard for international humanitarian law than like Putin. So there's no. That's why this Israeli government hosts pariah states.
You
It's
know,
it's it's insane.
this is this is very interesting. I don't know if you know, but Ben Gavir came out yesterday and said that Israel should, not we, Israel should attack Iran nuclear facilities, whether there are peace talks or not, or whether there is a peace deal or not. Whether like we were not involved in the peace deal and we'll figure a way to attack the
Yeah.
Israeli the Iranian nuclear facilities. What do you think about that statement?
No, I mean he just shows his true colors. I mean he thinks that Israel can go it alone, and that they don't need any allies and they don't need to comply with international law. To hell with it. We want to establish Greater Israel, and we will dominate the Middle East. It's like crazy talk.
People talking, and especially Polymarket. I'm not a person that bets or anything, but I keep an eye on Polymarket because it seems like the AI software in there has been interestingly correct about some of the U.S. elections. That's a different conversation. But Polymarket was saying that they expect that Netanyahu government will be dismantled soon. Talks are, if that happens, we expect to see an even more far right government. Uh, is is that something that even would drive this war even further into escalation? It's not looking good. It's not looking good.
It's not. It's not. But we just have to wait and see. I mean, there's going to be an election. Is that in September? General elections, and let's see what happens. The bad news is that it doesn't seem that there is much of an alternative in Israel. There are, the other the right wing politicians that are broken away from the extremist government. I mean, every little helps, I guess. So as long as you stay away from the parties of Smotrich and Ben Gvir, I think will add a little bit of sanity, at least to any government. So I think it's hard to predict. I see a lot of Israeli commentators that are just basically saying we need a government that is not a kindergarten with these crazy people like Ben Gvir and Smotrich. But let's see how it works out.
Um, I think I think there's a lot of power on the global stage by the Israeli vote. And I believe Israelis have a big responsibility to choose a moderate government. That's why I've called on the
Mm.
Israelis to grassroots organize.
Yeah,
And if we don't recognize that their power is more powerful than any protest in Europe or any protest in the United States, because it's their decision making that's going to affect the rest of this Middle East peace talk. I
yeah.
was going to ask you,
There are,
go ahead.
let me just, there are voices, like former Foreign Minister Tzipi Livni has been out also saying, listen here, Israel, we need to respect international law and international agreements. This is our foundation. So we are undermining our own security, taking this line and thinking that, war on all fronts will solve everything. But it's like some of these radicals on the right wing are just completely nuts.
Yeah, yeah, they're going all out, which is a little scary. There's two
Yeah,
things happening in the EU that is interesting to me, and I want to get your perspective on it. We'll start with the new prime minister in the UK. The Union Party has Labour Party have a new leader. Their previous prime minister has stepped down. And what is the new prime minister's perspective on the Israeli US conflict with Iran? And
Mm.
is it on his big to do list, or is he just focused on domestic issues at the moment?
I think domestically, the UK after Brexit is in so much of a turmoil that for any British prime minister, you know, uh, internationally will be weak until he solves the domestic situation. To be honest, I don't think there'll be a big change from what internationally from what Keir Starmer was doing. Uh, but the sad part is that after Brexit, fixing the UK economy and getting, some sense back seems hard. You've had a conservative party that has committed harakiri, and then there's this extremist right wing party of reform that is, insane as well. So it's hard, but I think he'll be very focused on domestic issues. It's very hard to predict because even though reform is looking good in the polls, it's very hard to it won't necessarily generate a majority when there's going to be an election. So let's just take it easy on that, but let's see how it goes. But internationally, I don't think there's a big change.
That's interesting. The other thing is that there's interesting news between the EU and Afghanistan, the Taliban in particular, at the moment. Uh, I have always said if you want to stop foreign refugees from coming to European and American nations, or Western nations in general, you should help stabilize nations and improve their economy rather than creating destabilization. The only reason they go somewhere else is for a better opportunity because all of their chances has been demolished.
Mm.
The EU is at a pickle. They have been trying to deport a lot of Afghani refugees that have come through the past 5 to 10 years of war and post-war, and especially after Taliban took office. It's the first time the EU gives Taliban visas to come and join the EU for talks. And particularly, the only reason they're inviting the Taliban over is talking about how we can send back those Afghani refugees back to Afghanistan.
Yeah,
And yet, the EU still doesn't recognize Taliban as the official government
yeah,
in Afghanistan.
yeah.
What's
It's
going on here?
useless. It's useless. It's useless. You know, shit always happens when you have politicians that try to play domestic politics internationally. So this whole way of solving migration issues, etc., just to become, to gain popularity domestically is always going to end up badly because, you have a government in Kabul with bona fide Al Qaeda members and people on the UN terror lists going back to the going back to the early 2000s. It's quite insane, really. And then we are saying, well, we have to do something to solve this migration issue, so we'll build some relations. And the double standards are quite horrific. Now, I've worked a lot with Afghanistan and the Taliban, Al Qaeda, etc. So, and have also, we've lost a lot of soldiers in Denmark.
Mhm.
We're the per capita the nation that has lost the most soldiers in Afghanistan. So more than the US and the UK per capita. So it's an open wound. It really is an open wound. But Trump signed the surrender agreement, the capitulation with the Qatar, the beautiful deal, as he called it. And yeah, we're still paying the price, and the EU doesn't know how to, deal with it, and then to show the voters that we're doing something about migration and getting some people back, etc., etc. It's terrible,
Didn't some of or a big block of these Afghani refugees were somewhat involved with Western militaries? Like they were translators, they were guiders, they were food
Yeah,
cooks. There were many,
yeah,
and they all became targets immediately by the Afghani government.
yeah,
Additionally, the largest number of victims by the Al Qaeda and Taliban were actually Muslims. So many of
yeah.
these were running away from Taliban oppression. So we're
Mm.
basically sending them back to their deaths essentially before we ensure that they get any protection. What are we like? Are we just trying to get rid of them by any means necessary? Just like how we're trying to deal with the houseless population everywhere in the world?
I
We
don't
just
know.
shuffle them from one place to another.
I don't know exactly how many and how they're going to screen as to the threat against them individually, because at least in Denmark, now I'm not an expert on these things, but there needs to be a process to determine whether they are under threat, and I'm quite sure that we can't send back translators and people that have served at the embassy, or stuff like that. So I don't know exactly how they will do it, but it's terrible, really. I have to say. There's no good coming out of this, but it's all a matter of migration policies, I guess.
Did you see this post?
No, I can't. I can't read it. What is it?
It says visual access to USG laptop while using someone else's CAC to log in, pure incompetence at every level. It shows Jared Kushner, JD Vance with the Qatari prime minister on a laptop. That
Oh yeah,
laptop doesn't seem to be owned by the State Department or owned by JD Vance. And he's logging into his own accounts using
yeah.
the prime minister's computer. Is
But
what
there's a long
is that
string
is that
of
according to protocols?
no, but this administration, it's typical. You've seen it with the signal mail, what is it, the group chat, and you've seen it with what's his name, Steve Witkoff, traveling to Moscow without a translator and using a Russian a Russian translator, and using his common cell phone, etc., etc. It's it's this, but this administration doesn't seem to care.
I still haven't gotten a confirmation on whether that is an actual thing, but I think that if that was true, it just makes the Hillary Clinton emails look like a joke.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, that was probably the least of the security breaches.
Let's see. I think it's just crazy, man. Like the more you learn about what's going on, the more like you're like, what? And we had a problem with such and such?
Yeah,
Really? And you had
yeah,
a problem with Obama $1 billion? Like so much
yeah,
shit is happening. You're like comparing, and you're
yeah.
like day and
Yeah,
night.
that I saw earlier today also something that JD Vance had tweeted back in 2023 after the terror attacks in Israel, blaming blaming Obama, and the money that the Iranians got from the JCPOA for the terrorist attacks in Israel, the 7th of October. And look what they're doing. Look it's terrible.
It's crazy. Someone is asking what kind of ships are passing through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah,
Majority of the ships that are passing are oil ships. There's still hundreds of ships stranded in the strait,
yeah,
on both sides.
yeah,
Majority of the ships are passing right now are priorities for the Iranian government first, and then everyone comes in left next. If you think
yeah.
about it, well, there was around 800 to 1,000 plus ships on both sides of the strait that were stranded before this release happened. And about
A-
to go ahead.
And most of these ships that we've seen transit out of the Strait of Hormuz, have been linked to Iran. There have been Qatari LNG tankers as well, but Iran clearly does some nations favors, but it's not. There's clearly a priority going on, and the 30 Iranian very large crude carriers we've seen exit. You need to also be aware that there are still 56 Iranian tankers that are fully loaded inside the Gulf that are also going to exit. So it's a whole lot of Iranian crude that's coming out now, and I haven't seen much, other crude making it out. I don't know about you, Wati, but it seems that they're prioritizing. They'll probably give some favors to the Iraqis as well. And
Yeah, Chinese, Iraqis, Indians, all
yeah,
probably get some favors.
yeah,
I mean, they are part of the BRICS by the end of the day, and
yeah,
BRICS takes priority. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much competition is between the G7 and BRICS at this point.
yeah, exactly.
There is a question directed to you, Mr. Jacob. It goes, what do you wish European politicians would do to push all involved parties toward a peace agreement and establish and stabilize the region?
Hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, Europe is still a political dwarf, not least when it comes to the Middle East. Why? Because there's no unity. There's no foreign policy per se, and nation states in Europe go their own way. It's very difficult to reconcile the Spanish view with the German view, with the Danish view, etc., etc. So European Middle East policy, unfortunately, is very messy. And I had the pleasure of dealing with it when I was based in the Security Council in New York back 20 years ago. And unfortunately, the situation hasn't improved much. From my perspective, the EU needs to become a federation so we can have a real common foreign security and defense policy in unison, because you'll always have, states that go their own ways in foreign policies. And the Iranians, the Russians, the Chinese will know how to play that game. Unfortunately,
I have a
but a
question
lot
to
of good
me.
intentions, I
Uh,
have to say. There are a lot of good intentions in Europe, but when it comes to foreign policy, good intentions doesn't get you
don't
very
work.
far. So,
I think European Union is gonna go through some turbulent times, especially going through what's going on in the Middle East and the United States. It seems like they're looked unclear about the direction that they're going. Everyone has a different idea of what should happen.
yeah, lots of stuff is improving actually, but not in foreign policy, and especially not on the Middle East. In terms of Russia, it's not that bad. It leaves a lot to be desired still, but not as bad. Middle East is worse because that's really where nations have a lot of different views. So that's troublesome.
Different interests. Each country has different interests in the Middle East as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then because of those special interests, national interests, it's easy to get hijacked. We had, just on some trade issues vis-a-vis China. There was quite a hard line getting going inside the EU, and then the Chinese succeeded in hijacking the Spanish, and then it came off the rails, etc., etc. Yeah, that's really terrible. But at least now we got rid of Viktor Orban, the
Yes.
prime minister of Hungary, that was favored by, who was he favored by? He was favored by
Putin.
Putin. He was favored by Trump. He was favored by Netanyahu. There you go. At least he's gone.
The Illuminati triangle.
Yeah, terrible.
Well, I have someone that's asking me a question. Is saying I'm sure you covered this. What's Saudi Arabia's motivation relationship with Iran vis-a-vis the war? Were they always enemy? Are they upset that their oil is now more with more competition to their product? Here's a few things you need to understand. Just like in in Christianity, certain countries have sworn an oath to protect certain sects of Christianity. Like the Catholic Church has France and Italy sworn protection for the Catholic Church. The the Church of England is protected by the King of England. And in the Middle East, you have the protectors of the Sunnis and the protectors of the Shia. And that conflict goes 1,400 years old, where it is based on actual political conflict. The conflict between Shia and Sunni is not religious. It is now based on faith, but originally it was the people that believed that the descendant prophet family should rule the Islamic Ummah, the Islamic nation, versus Muslims who believe that based on unanimous consent, which is type of democracy at the time, they would choose their next Khalifa, which is the ruler of the Muslim world. Well, in the beginning, the first couple Khalifas, it was okay until it was Ali uh, and the and his grandkid and his kids, the grandkids of the Prophet Hassan al Hussein. I'm a descendant of the Hussein lineage, and al Hussein himself was assassinated in Iraq, in Karbala, by people who believe that I think at the time it was Uthman bin Affan. I need to go and refresh my memory, but it was a heavy war. Muslims died on both sides, and by the end of it, the Hassan and Hussein were assassinated, both lineage of the Prophet. Their kids lived on, but the grandkids themselves were assassinated. Ali was assassinated, I believe, and then this conflict have lived on. Shia believe that Sunnis have betrayed Islam, and Sunnis believe that Shia are apostates and bring out stuff out of nowhere, and that they are a fake religion. So both have been at war since then. Iran, since the Islamic Revolution, since because they have a large Shi'i crowd, and there's a couple holy sites there, and they see themselves as the protectors of the sites of Hassan and Hussein, the descendants of the prophets. So they see themselves as protectors of the Shia and the custodians of the mosques of Hassan and Hussein. And you have the Sunnis who protect the two holy mosques, Mecca and Medina, and see themselves as protecting the Sunnis in Saudi Arabia. And since then, since 1,400 years ago till now, this is playing effect. My dad doesn't trust a single Shi'i and thinks that if he goes to a Shi'i house, this person will piss on his coffee before he serves it to him. Said that literally a billion times to me. He was like, "Oh yeah, I can't go to a Shi'i house. This person will piss on my coffee without me knowing and serve it to me." Literally word for word. This is how much like propaganda is pushed out there, and this is how far it goes. Are there friends? Are we trying to fix this? Is the new generation getting better at it? Yes. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of entanglement and complexity. And don't forget that oil in Saudi Arabia comes out of the properties that was owned majority Shi'i people. And the Saudi government seized that property away from them to sell that oil. So technically, that oil is owned by Shi'i minorities and the Arabian Peninsula, and Saudi Arabia
in
took over
in
that.
the eastern province, right?
Yes, in the eastern province, absolutely. And the Saudi government
Where
views,
where the Shia are majority.
yes, a Shi'i majority, and the Saudi government views them as a risk most of the time, and
This
they all believe
this is
that
the
they are
area
Iranian
we are
spies.
talking about.
Correct.
This is the area.
I've been there a few times. They the Saudi government views them as spies for Iran. The Saudi government, even in Kuwait and in Qatar, Kuwait has citizens denaturalized thousands and thousands of people since the beginning of the war. If you guys
Yeah.
don't know, but yeah, the conflict is deep. The conflict is big. It is complicated. A lot of rights have been taken on both sides. It is, and it's not going to be solved in my lifetime, I believe.
Exactly. And the new thing here, well, not the new thing as such, but what we saw back in 2018, 2019, when the Iranians first attacked the Saudi oil fields and the Houthis started attacking Saudi Arabia and the UAE from Yemen, was the fact that the United States didn't go in and protect their so-called allies in the Gulf as they would have done previously. And since then, these countries have been in bind because, security-wise, they don't get the protection from the U.S. anymore. They thought perhaps that Trump would, give them protection. That's probably why they offered him billions and billions and gazillions of dollars in deals. But now they've seen with this war that they get no protection from the US. So they really have to find some way to accommodate the Shia regime in Iran.
Hmm. I agree. I agree.
That's it.
There is an interesting, like there, I can't add any more to what you said. Uh, there's an Arabic saying, عندما يحضر الماء بطل التيمم. When water's here and you are cleaning yourself, there's no need for tayammum. Tayammum is a Bedouin way, old school way for Arabs to clean their hands using just sand. And when you don't have water, you need to clean, you need to use sand. So when you say and basically the saying means if you said everything and and there's nothing else to cover. There's nothing else for me to say. It's an Arabic saying. I don't know if everyone understood. But the interesting question that I'd like to end with, and I mean, we've reached the end of the episode, and I would like to also hear what you think about this. Someone's like, how does the U.S. restore trust after this administration? How do we even get other countries to trust us again? I would love to hear your answer for that, and then I'll answer after you.
Yeah. I will say this administration has done so much damage to U.S. credibility. You know, it's something we've not seen in history since the Second World War. And you know, in the Middle East, it's unprecedented. You know, the as crazy as this seems, the Sunni former allies of the U.S., Saudi Arabia, the UAE,
Papa.
Bahrain, Qatar,
Mhm.
Kuwait, uh,
Oman.
Oman, have now even seen that the U.S., you know, goes against Israel. You know, so they say, well, if Donald Trump really asks Ahmed al-Sharaa from Syria to go into Lebanon, no one can trust him. When the Israelis can't even trust him, why the hell would we ever trust him? So you know, these countries will be pursuing new security arrangements. I think there's a way in for China. That was what we saw back in 2018-19 when the Saudi Arabia and Iran shadow war was going on, that the Chinese succeeded in mediating some kind of a balancing arrangement. So that is presumably what they will try. But you know, as long it's the same that we feel in Europe with the U.S. As long as the Republican Party is a personality cult built around Donald Trump or whatever MAGA monster that will come up next, you know, the next disaster is only 4 years away. So regardless of how it's
Yeah.
going, what is going to happen in the midterm elections and in the next presidential elections, you know, we have to do something else because we can't rely on our alliance with the U.S. Again. We can hope that the U.S. comes to its senses, but as long as you have a system where the one party is hijacked by an
Yeah.
insane cult that doesn't believe in truth and facts and makes up its own nonsense, then we can't. You know, then we have to find somewhere else to go. And I'm sure the Gulf Arab states will feel the same way.
I absolutely agree. Here's what I think: the next leader of the United States, the next leadership in the U.S. Congress, needs to think. They need to focus on ending so-called culture war and focus on uniting the U.S. people. Because as long as they are divided and as long as they believe in conspiracy theory on both sides, that each side is there not to be in the best interest of the United States, but there to bring the United States down, we're only going to be looking at each other as enemies and not focus on the big picture that the 1% has been investing all of their assets on dividing the rest of the people so they can take all the winnings and enjoy controlling all the politicians. The reality is, the reality is that as long as we can't have a leadership that is going to unite us, anyone that goes into office to do the right step. Let's think about it for a second. Pope Francis represents the Catholic Church. If the Catholic Church is not united around the Pope, nothing's. When the Pope Francis, bless his soul, was going around the world meeting with indigenous groups, I would call it an apology tour, taking the time to admit the mistakes of the Catholic Church and actually build a genuine connection. Without that, whatever that came next didn't matter. If I say right now the next president needs to go on an apology tour and ask for forgiveness from each country that we have betrayed, if the next president is focused on the culture war and we're still divided on it, we're back to square one.
Yeah.
So you want to prevent this from happening again. You don't want it just to be less forgive us again because you're keeping making the same mistake. That repetition of keeping the same mistake is what's causing people to distrust you. When Iran says the treaty between us and the United States needs to be ratified by the US and ratified by the UN Security Council, that means they want it to be legally binding because they no longer trust the US word.
Exactly.
So when I say the next thing is that we need to be united around our leader, we need to focus on the class war versus the culture war. It is actually so we can stop this bullshit, right versus left. When I was interviewing my friend and mentor, former governor of Kansas, John Carlin, him in my interview, I was still in college with Get Informed with Wajeeh 91.9 KSDB. I asked, what do you miss about old American? He says, I miss the days where we felt like we represented our people. We go to the floor of the Congress, go to the floor of the House of Representatives. We argue from the bottom of the heart. We get heated as much as you can imagine. After that, we leave and go to the steakhouse and have a beer and steak and talk as friends. The reality is that you gotta have some relation the other side to make ends meet. The polarization that we happen, studies have shown it is all because there's income inequality. Plus, I have to say, I think being united is the focus. Uh, the United States being united is a big focus on solving its foreign issues. If you don't have your house straightened out, your foreign relations are going to look messed up. And that is exactly what we're seeing in the United States.
Yeah.
Fix your house up, clean it up, get it organized so the rest of the world can come visit you.
Exactly. Exactly. Look at the World Cup. The World Cup doesn't give a shit about politics and crazy talk and blah, blah, blah. It's just happening in the US. It's beautiful.
It's very beautiful. I love seeing the international teams, international fans traveling. Have you seen the Spaniard fans that are traveling to each country that their country is competing with? So
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen Spaniard fans literally go to Saudi Arabia and then they're going to some Argentina next or something, and traveling to countries that are competing them just so they could meet the other population and get to know them. Sports is it's amazing. Do you have
Yeah.
any last words for the listeners, Jacob?
Yeah, let's focus a bit on the World Cup. And I was in Baghdad at the darkest hour that was happening in Iraq, and Iraq managed to win the Asian Cup while I was there, and all the Iraqis went crazy and cried and shooting up in the air, and it gave them something else to think about. And that's really really important. There was last week on my paid subscribers show. I showed them my viewers a little a little letter I had from my my colleagues in the intelligence cell from back then. I'll get it tomorrow, so you can see what happened in
Yeah.
back then with the soccer. But
Story time with Jacob.
anyway, good to see you as always, Wajeeh. Malcolm is still listening, I believe, but we'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, stay safe,
We'll
everyone.
unwrap this show. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're certainly watching a recording. So subscribe on there, leave a comment, join the community, and then come join us on Substack. It's free to subscribe for us on Substack. We provide a lot of in-depth analysis regarding the latest news around the world and in the Middle East, specifically around the political and political conflict that we have specifically in the Middle East. If you have subscribed to us and for some reason, if you click on our account, you're unsubscribed, there must be a glitch. Triple check if you have subscribed before. If you're still subscribed to us, Substack is having an issue. We're working with support that, but we do appreciate your support. Your support means everything to us. It makes this possible. And if you can consider becoming a paid subscriber, it's only $7 for Malcolm, $7 for Jacob, and I'm only $5 a month. Take a minute to subscribe and afford it. If you can't afford it, just message me. I'm happy to send you one on the house. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow and next time. Make sure to support Malcolm Nance. He's our big boss, and we're deep undercover for him.
Great. See you tomorrow, Wajeeh. See you, Malcolm. Bye bye.
Yeah, Malcolm, you can end it now. I have a problem ending the show here. Not ending.